So first question, you guys went up to the NSIC MIAA crossover. What did you learn the first 4 games of the season?
It was definitely a learning curve for us. Not necessarily in the sense that we got overmatched, but we just didn't really play to our potential. We had 1 game out of the 4 that we played, I thought, defensively really strong, and that was against a very good Northwest Missouri team. We lost 1-0 to them, but we stranded a lot of base runners on. And so really the story of that whole weekend was our hitting was not on. We'd get runners on by a walk or by a bunt, or some kid would move a kid over to second, and we just could not string the hits together. Our timely hitting was way off during that whole weekend.
One of the bright spots I wanted to ask you about, you've been talking all preseason about Brooke Steps and her speed and her ability to get on base, and it was all true.
It was. Brooke was a lot of fun to watch that whole weekend. She was the kid that stepped up and really got us going. We really thought that having her in that leadoff spot to get on base, to move her to second, and then look to score her, and that's always a run in that first inning, which is always huge to set the tone. So strategy-wise, she did it. She did her job. She did what we wanted. We just weren't able to capitalize on their mistakes later in the game. She's got some amazing speed. I think she stole 2 bases that weekend. I probably should have been a little more aggressive with her as well and got her a couple more stolen bases. But as the season goes on, we'll use her in different capacities like that.
She didn't get a win, but how proud were you of Amanda Walters just being the workhorse for the entire weekend?
She was. Hats off to her. I mean, by the last game on Sunday, I really felt for her as a coach, just because she really carried. She had to battle through a lot of adversity and had a lot of innings under her belt. Without having Bailey with us that weekend, we had to rely on her to drive the force, and then our 2 freshmen, Michelle and Shay Hoskins, to really come up and show up to play. Michelle got a little time in the Winona game, and Shay got a little time in the Truman game. And so we really thought the way we spaced Amanda out would be the best for her. But in the end, on Sunday, there just wasn't much gas left for her.
Just mentioned it, but you get Bailey Baumann back for spring break. It's got to be nice knowing that you can set your rotation for the rest of the year.
It is. It's nice that we have her full time now. She's able to practice with the team, be able to work out with us, and then really start to look at what our season looks like with our 2 pitchers, Amanda and Bailey, and then how our freshmen really show development throughout the next few weeks to get some rotations in, some innings in as well, because Shay and Michelle both will get innings even with a Bailey and Amanda pitching in a rotational basis. Just pick up innings here and there to help us close out games.
Leaving 2 days for spring break down in Florida, and I wanted to ask you, how do you game plan for a spring break trip? You play a lot of schools that you've never faced before, and in terms of scouting, kind of what do you do in preparation for schools? Northern schools, you play a UNC Pembroke team that'll have a lot of games under its belt, and Malloy College, which is ranked number 20 in the nation this week.
This year's a little different than last year with the teams we're playing. Last year I was able to scout almost every team prior to going to spring break. Every team had anywhere from 7 to 14 games under their belt last year. And so we were able to pull stats, we were able to pull games, do spray charts on each kid, and really have an idea of what their tendencies at the plate are. This year it's a little different. Malloy only has a few games under their belt. They played in the Leadoff Classic for the Division II. So we were able to see about 5 games of them, and then you got UNC Pembroke, who you said exactly have a lot of games under their belt. Both of those games we can scout a little bit based on their games that they've played, but the rest of the schedule, the other 8 games, most of those teams have not even played a game yet. Their first games will come down in Florida, and so we'll be doing scouts really the night before, watching their game prior to us playing, or pulling up stats after their games and trying to get a handle on what do they do. Are they a team that plays a lot of small ball, or are they relying on their hits to get them runs? So this year's a little different strategy-wise, just heading down there with only two of our 10 teams that will play that have already got some play time in already.
For you as a coach, is it also an opportunity to try some different lineups with playing so many games in such a short span of time?
A little bit, yes. I think after the Rochester weekend, if you look at our stats aren't very good, but also how many kids we got in. We were trying lineup after lineup after lineup just to see if we could get a spark. and what lineup wanted to compete and what lineup could really get us going. And so going into the Florida trip here, we've got probably an idea of what we want to start with, but yeah, I mean, we're bringing everybody. All 24 kids will travel with us, and so it's going to give us some options once we get down there to see what kids really want to play and compete at a high level for us.
What are your expectations for spring break? What would make you happy on the return flight?
You know, what would make me happy is us to go down there, compete, and prove on what we've done. I mean, we haven't started the season the way I've expected us to. And really down there, we should be able to hold our own and really come away with a winning record after this weekend. And so my goal is to get us back to 500 and then look to go above that with this Florida trip. And so we've got some work to do, but I'm excited for the next 7 days with the kids because Florida is a little different than any other experience because the kids don't have to worry about getting up early morning classes. There's no distractions of outside. It's pretty much play softball, hang out with your team, play some more softball. And so it's a great bonding time for the team, and it's a good preparation for us as we get ready for the Northern Sun Conference season as we come home with that.